Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast, the place for scrappy female entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster. A few weeks ago, I talked about a biz friend who was recently struggling with her business, and one of the things she was struggling with was her Facebook ads. Well, good news. She messaged me the other day to say she finally has an ad that was working. A number of lounge members have also been having breakthroughs this year after digging into their data, using the tools we provide, and participating in a content planning intensive workshop we recently held. These aha moments are proving to be so impactful, not only for their bottom line, but how they approach their business. And I felt compelled to share it with you just in case what they learned can help you reach an aha moment too. First, let's talk about my biz friend and her Facebook ads. When she told me she finally got an ad to work, I of course asked what she credited to the success, and there were 2 tweaks she made that turned around the results. First, she went back to using a static image versus the video she was using previously. It's a bit surprising, isn't it, that a static image performed better than a video? How often do you hear about the power of UGC-type videos and how they blow up your ad performance? And that's not to say it can't happen. But interestingly enough, according to our resident Facebook ad strategist and co-host of The Lounge, Nicole Dietrich, she finds that static images outperform videos the majority of the time too. The second tweak she made was broadening her audience. While interest audiences are still an important strategy for smaller ad budgets, lately using a bit of a broader audience has been more successful for many people. In fact, Nicole initially walked us through her 3-tier audience building system in episode 91, Facebook Ads for E-commerce. But when she came back on the show to walk us through using Facebook ads for product launches, she talked about how she's since tweaked her strategy a little bit. Now she starts with only 1 tier of interests and then adjusts her audience as she collects more data. If you want to learn more about the process so you fully understand what it is we're talking about here, there are 2 episodes in the show notes for you to listen to. And that's the thing about ads and marketing in general. It changes constantly and quickly. One of the worst things you can do as a marketer is to continue to do things a certain way simply because that's always how it's been done. You've always got to be testing, tweaking, and trying new things. Now, that doesn't mean you jump ship as soon as something doesn't work. Give anything at least 90 days before you throw in the towel. But don't be surprised if the strategy you've been using successfully for the last 6 or 9 months suddenly stops performing at optimal levels. Another big breakthrough I've seen is around content planning for both social media and email. This was during that 3-week intensive workshop that we held exclusively for lounge members. These real-time workshops are something we just implemented this year. The Lounge by design is self-paced with an ever-growing library of training and resources. But this year, we're holding these workshops that lounge members can opt into where everyone is working on the same thing together with me and Nicole there to live audit your work and give direct feedback. For the content planning workshop, all the attendees went through the existing training in the lounge, plus some exclusive bonus resources we provided to workshop members. Once they went through the training, they mapped out their content topics according to the GIN method and created their content calendars for me and Nicole to review. And while each attendee had a completely different business and was at a completely different stage, they all had similar takeaways from the experience. The first, and likely most important, was that once they sat down and did the work of really understanding what were they trying to accomplish during this time and putting so much intention behind the content they were creating, they started to enjoy the process and actually have fun with it. They also started to see how many opportunities for content crossover there were between social and email, how impactful being repetitive with their messaging would ultimately be, and how the knowledge they took for granted or the content they thought would be silly is actually really valuable for their audience to understand who they are and ultimately inspire them to buy their product. I think my personal favorite was everyone realizing how much they actually had to say. Not knowing what to say or feeling like they don't have enough content is by far the number one struggle I hear from e-commerce business owners. But going through this process of aligning their content to their current business goals, it opened their eyes to all the different angles they could take with their content and their products, and that they didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time. And this is especially true because you are the only person who sees 100% of your content. You are the only one that has heard that story or seen that product 100 times or knows how to do that thing you can teach your audience. I promise, no matter how silly or common knowledge you think something is, there is someone out there whose mind is going to be blown when you share it. One of the workshop attendees had actually messaged me a few weeks ago to let me know that after following what they learned in the lounge last year, they tripled their email revenue year over year in 2022. They generated over $150,000 from email alone. And here's the real kicker. That was mostly from automation and sending about 1 email a week on average. This year, they're increasing their campaign sends to 2 per week. And during the workshop, we uncovered that they have room to increase that even more. And as you've probably heard me say before, 99.9% of the time, the more email you send, the more money you make. And this particular business, which runs both online and brick and mortar, also learned how to better utilize its small but mighty in-store team, having the associates create content for social media. And because they now really understand how to be intentional with the content they're creating and mapping out their calendars, it's really easy for them to create a punch list of what they need to be created and to articulate that to their store team. Look, I get it. For most of us, planning isn't sexy, but you know what is? The outcome. More organization, more intentionality, more impact, all with less stress and overwhelm. The last big breakthrough I want to share with you today is the magic of digging in and understanding your numbers. One of our lounge members who joined in January and just hit the ground running with the Google Analytics training started digging into her site metrics and uncovered that while her overall conversion rate was pretty good, the disparity between her new site visitors and returning visitors was really big. And it was this poor conversion rate of new site visitors that was stunting her business growth. Once she started looking at her website armed with this new data, she realized that she hadn't really optimized her site for those who didn't already know and love her business and products. So starting with her bestsellers, she's revamping her product pages to attract and convert customers who don't know her yet. She's taking what she learned about both SEO and copywriting for e-commerce inside the lounge and is currently applying it to her product descriptions and the content she creates. This is a similar realization Megan of Glass Ladder had a couple of years ago in regard to her social media content. She talked all about it on the podcast. I'll stick a link in the show notes for her episode. But to give you the cliff notes, when she shifted her social strategy to essentially creating mini commercials for her products targeted toward potential customers who had no idea who she was, she saw crazy growth in her business. My previous guest, Rishi Rawat, also talked all about the importance of converting first-time buyers and how to use buyer psychology to do it on episode 185 of the show. So, what are the lessons I want you to take away from today's CEO stories? Let's sum it up with these 4. 1, always be testing and tweaking your approach to improve your results. Just because something works right now doesn't mean it will always work. 2, being intentional with your marketing messages will simplify the process, make it more enjoyable, and make a bigger impact on your bottom line. 3, understanding your data will give you the power to unlock hidden revenue in your business. And 4, optimize your website for the potential customer who has no idea who you are. Remember to check the show notes for other episodes where you can dive deeper into some of these lessons. And if you want to start having these types of breakthroughs in your e-commerce business, come on in and join us in the lounge membership. I can't wait to see you inside. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you love hearing these stories. If you do, let me know and I'll start sharing more of them. Have a kick-ass rest of your day and I'll see you on the flip side, friend. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking to surround yourself with more product entrepreneurs who totally get your life right now, get your booty on over to the eCommerce Badassery Facebook group. Can't wait to see you there. Until next time, e-commerce friends, stay badass.